Oh, you're frozen. Tim, you're frozen. Hey, welcome to Edison's Rockin' Roadshow. We're coming to you live from Four Dog Studio with HexHarrison. Hex Tangent will be
Yes,
joining us
hello.
later. Yeah, there he is. And how is that? How is that Hex Prize treating all of you people, you good folks out there? Hope you're doing well. Yep. So, how's your day? How's everything? Doing
Yeah, I'm
well.
good. I've been
Yeah.
enjoying the pump. I've been enjoying the pump.
Yeah. It's a bit pumpy.
Yeah, there's a few
Got
prices that have gone up in the past 24 hours, which have been quite interesting.
Well,
So,
that Pulse Dogecoin is
yeah,
has been a darling
you've read
in
my
these
mind.
in these daring times. It looks like we came close to breaking the 16-cent mark here earlier on Hex, so it's doing pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just got home a little while from the factory, the video game factory, and
Anything to
happy to be
report?
home. Yeah, 5 days off ahead of me. That's a good thing to report. I may just have to crack a cold one during this live stream. So, but yeah, so Hex
Well,
Tangent's gonna come on.
I've got
Go
my
ahead.
bottle of hydration ready to rock and roll. So
I also
I'm
have
sure.
hydration.
Oh yeah, lovely.
So yeah, we've been talking about that liquidity chart and trying to kind of sort it out and see how that interacts with the price and the price interacts with actually the liquidity and
Okay.
so we're going to have I think we're going to have some nice questions that Tangent will
What
easily
what
be able to
liquidity
answer.
chart is that? Do you have it queued up just to show the people at home what we're talking about?
Yeah, but maybe not.
We'll do it a bit
now.
later then. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the hex liquidity chart. Yeah.
Oh, the hex.
But
Okay,
we'll
the hex liquidity.
yeah.
Yes, got it.
But we'll get into
That
that. You know.
I've been learning about that the last couple of days, working out what it all means, which is kind of interesting because we think it's relevant to the price, right?
Hmm.
With the purchase orders and
Well, of course it
limit
definitely
orders and thinking
affects
like that. Yeah.
it definitely affects the price movement. I just would like to get wrapped around how. And by educating ourselves on this live stream, we can educate others as well. Yeah.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Fabulous.
This is an educational stream. This is pure education. No, I think it's going to be fun. Yeah, it'll be fun. I
Sure.
think we'll be cracking dad jokes and laughing a little bit, crying a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as I can learn something, and the people at home can learn something, then that's all that matters, really. Because exciting times ahead, by the sounds of it. Everyone seems to think that Pulse Chain is going to launch mid-May. Let's hope that's true and actually comes to fruition, and that'll be fantastic times ahead. I've been in, as I tweeted yesterday, I've been in the testnet farms for so long. I've actually bought myself a pair of wellies,
Oh yeah, the boots. The boots.
harvesting my incentive tokens.
But I get it. Okay, I get it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you
you've
know,
been having fun, but
fun on the farm.
The incentive token has just been crazy. Staking it back into the farms, and I'm like, the amount of value that I'm gaining in testnet every day is like, if only this happens sometime down the road.
Well, that's the thing.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know how they ascertain the values of all the tokens at the moment, but it's certainly a bit of an eye-opener to wake up in the morning, check the farms, realise you've just earned about $6,000 and then harvesting all that and pumping it back in again.
I forgot to send out my old tweet. Now it's out there. We're live. Yeah.
We're live.
Oh, there's Mr. Tangent. I'm bringing him on in right now.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm going to read these volumes and turn my speaker. Cool. Yo, how's everyone going? How's that hex price? How is that hex price?
We're loving the pumps.
That was kind of how I opened up the stream. How's that hex price treating you, man? You know?
Yeah. So stoked.
I'm gonna see if I can avoid going fanboy on you, but it's nice to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.
I caught the tail end of your stream about an hour ago, which was quite funny. Some of your analogies about having a three-way with your mum and your sister, and that I had a little chuckle at that.
Right.
Found that very amusing. Yeah, I had to make up for how sensible the stream had been so far, because it was a very serious and sensible stream.
Right, yeah.
I had to just tailspin it at the end and just get it like.
Well, that was it. I just caught the tail end.
I think this one today will be mixed. We better have a lot of fun while dispensing of a lot of knowledge or fun.
That's how I like to do it.
Yeah, but so I was actually. I actually had hoped for this a while back, and I don't know if you remember, but one of your live streams, I popped in and asked you about the liquidity chart, and like I'm having a hard time. You gave me a kind of a rundown, so I thought at some point in the stream, I don't want to jump into the hardcore stuff right away, but yeah, at some point.
Sure.
And by the way, if you don't mind, before we get into some banter. Could you send me the link to the liquidity chart that you're using?
Yeah.
And I'll pull that one up.
I'll send you both. There's basically two. There's one for the 0.3% and one for the 1%. And
sounds good.
I'll send them to you on Twitter now.
Okay. I wonder if I can turn you up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I can do that maybe a little bit on my end. Is that better?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That's
think
perfect.
Yeah. Nice. I got onto a stream this afternoon from the office. This morning from the office.
Yep.
Jen Hex was up there, and the mic I have at the office, and the office is noisy. There's so much background noise, and of course I can't hear it until I play back. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Blah blah. I'll get
Everyone's sounding very sweet today, anyway.
I've got the same mic as Crypto Vince, and I noticed the other day it's actually got little hexagons on it. I don't know if I'll be able to show you this, but so.
Oh, nice!
Can you guys see those hexagons?
Yeah, I like those mics. Yeah.
It's a HyperX. It's actually really good. They're really good.
Yeah, it sounds
nice.
Good. And that's USB, no?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And how's the control software for it?
So the power and the data come through that one USB cord, which probably can't hold it up high enough to show it, but yeah.
And how's the control software?
I haven't really played around with it that much, but it's got these interesting hardware settings on the back that I don't know if I can show you.
Polar pattern?
See these? You can basically switch it between, like if you're having a conversation with you and someone sitting across from you, you put on one. There's one if you want it to just take in all the sound from around, and then there's one where if it's just you by yourself. And then I don't know what the fourth one is, some other shit. But yeah, so I've just got it set on that one. So yeah, it's sick. And also it goes through the hex and pulse color gradients.
This is great. It's so nice.
Fabulous.
So stock out of the box, it goes through. So here it is, like it goes through the purpley blues, and then it goes through like the sunset, like fire oranges and pinks and stuff. It's pretty madness.
Made for hexagons.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay,
Surprisingly, to have the colors and the hexagon shape is pretty wild.
Okay, so there's liquidity. Okay, so actually one of these charts is the one of them that I was actually using, so that's good. You get out of here and you go there.
So yeah, it's unfortunate that there's two charts. It would be better if it just to save the confusion, to have just one chart. But unfortunately, because depending on what fee the liquidity provider has chosen, it actually separates them into separate liquidity pools.
Yeah.
So that 1% and 3% is basically the fees
fee.
that people pay. Ah, okay. You see.
Do I detect the smell of fresh cut grass?
Yeah. Well, my next door neighbour has decided to cut his lawn today. So if you hear the fly mow in action, that's why.
Tangent just came. HexHarrison told me you went to mow a lawn down the street before the stream. Yeah.
The amount of stuff I got done between, because I stayed on that other stream for longer than I wanted to, because I wanted a bit more of a gap between the two streams to get some stuff done. I was just running around my house, like just doing so much stuff. But it's good when you've got limited time. Have you ever heard that saying, if you want something done, give it to a busy person? It's
Yes.
like, because they basically have forced productivity when you're trying to do things within a narrow time window. Whereas if you've just got unlimited free time, which is normally how I run my life, you move slowly.
Well,
I've never heard that before, but that makes a lot of
pretty-
sense.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. you stay pretty busy, don't you? Tangent.
Well, yeah. I guess between crypto and partying, I do a lot.
I think I caught a few of your party tweets, and I'm like, damn it, I'm stuck in China.
I have a new policy that I try to stick to, and I'm doing a pretty good job of sticking to it, where I only schedule one thing per day. So there's literally only one thing on a day that I have to do, and then everything else is just optional. And by doing that, like, you're never stressed, and you always feel like you're killing it because you always get that task done. It's only one thing. You just have to do one thing a
You
day.
always reach your goals.
You always meet your goals. And it's not saying that you can't do other shit. It's not like you do that one thing and then go sit on the couch and watch Netflix. It's just that you don't try and stack too much into a day so that you're just like running around late for shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my day will revolve around that one thing. And if someone wants to schedule something with me, it has to be on a different day. Or maybe I'll move the thing I have on that day to a different day if they really need, you know what I mean? So there's ways to manage it, but it just keeps your life low stress.
The key to success is to set a low bar.
It's worked for me so far.
It actually does tie in. It does tie in with that theory. It does.
Well, anyway, so yeah, but yeah. So here's the thing. One of the things to mention here is we're pretty global right now, right?
Yep.
I'm guessing you're in Australia somewhere.
I'm in Australia. Is Harrison in the UK?
Yeah, I'm in the UK. Yeah,
and I'm in the Chinese. The China's.
I'm in the Chinas.
You said you're stuck there. Are you restricted from leaving at the moment? Like,
Well, no, not really. But I mean, it's like relocation. I've been here for quite a few years, right? In fact,
okay.
HexHarrison and I know each other from China, but it's like, relocation is a big logistic thing, right? Especially if you've been here for a while. So, doing it during the world situation as it is, plus the cost is like, just choose the right time.
Yeah,
to do it, right?
exactly.
yeah.
Make sure it's not going to be a pain. But yeah, and then stuck in China, it's like, during these, this last year or so, I can't go to like Thailand and have fun or do something like that, just because coming back is going to be murder.
little trips.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can't get back as it is. There's no flights,
Yeah.
and quarantine's an absolute nightmare. So
I'm not gonna quarantine in China unless I absolutely have to, and then I'm not 100% sure I'm going to survive that, right?
sure.
I don't know if you've seen the horror stories that are happening right now in Shanghai, but gosh, those guys, I've got a lot of friends there, and we both do, and yeah,
Sure.
Shanghai's a murderous mess.
Glad I'm here.
It's terrible.
I've got family that live in London, and like they're not originally from London, but they live there now. And so I heard firsthand in terms of them just getting cabin fever and stuff like that. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but I'm always able to catch you because we're in kind of the same time frame.
Perfect. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And
Except
so
for when
if
I'm
you-
doing like my middle of the night streams.
Yeah, and sometimes I do, because like I think probably 3 out of the 7 nights a week I wake up at 2 a.m. from 2 to 4, and it's just like, okay, I'm awake.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, that happened to me the other night where I was just exhausted, tired, and I went to sleep at like 7 p.m. and woke up at like 2 a.m. and realized that that's actually a decent sleep. Like that's not
Yeah.
like that's not an unreasonable sleep, and then you're up in the middle of the night. So
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you,
I'm doing
Mr.
these days.
Harrison?
I'm doing the whole. I sleep when I get tired, unless I'm out, and I wake up with no alarm. So it
I
leads
used
to
to
me
do
having
that
a
in Shanghai.
completely erratic sleep schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is
I
very.
used to be
It's
able-
nice
I used
feeling
to-
that waking up naturally.
I used to
Yeah.
be able to do that, but the older I got, the more I woke up at the same time, no matter what happens.
Okay.
If
Yeah.
I-
Yeah. So you just fell into.
If I
a schedule,
drink all
right?
night until 6, I wake up at 7. It
Oh,
doesn't-
I remember, like when I was younger, one of my friends said that to me, that if he had such a rigid body clock that if he was out until like 4 a.m., he would still wake up at 5 a.m. And I'm like, bro, like what happens if you stay up until like 5:30 a.m.? Like what? How is
You
that
just
possible?
don't. Yeah. It's
You
yeah.
the way
you
you
just
the
don't
way
sleep.
you the way you handle that is you eat a very heavy eggs and bread and whatever breakfast, and then
Okay.
you hope that knocks you out.
Yo, we're about to hit 16 cents, literally live.
Yeah, yes. Isn't that something? Yeah.
We're fit,
Let's see
on my
where we're
chart.
at.
On my chart, it's which is Uniswap V2. It's like 15,997. So
Yeah,
literally
let me just pop this in. There we go. There we go. Look at that.
Zoom in
1596.
on that. What's that?
15,996. Yeah, baby.
There we go.
That's what I'm talking about.
There
Let's
we go.
cross that threshold while we're having a good time talking about
Oh, so we're
it.
about
So-
to take out that high. We're about to break that high. If we can close.
Let me
above.
check it. Let me check it. Wait. Which one? Wait. Let me go back.
As in.
This one. Oh yeah. This one. The
wait,
one from
looked like there was
the one.
yeah. That one
This
from
one.
like March 28 or whatever.
28th. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
obviously,
So
the candle has to close though, so it won't be until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning for each of us that we'll work out whether that's broken or not. But it's looking good. It's looking
This
strong.
is my daily and this is my hourly. And I can't. Those load every time I open Chrome.
Yeah, they're
Like-
reasonable time frames to keep an eye on. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I always think about these as hurdles, right? Well, we jumped that hurdle, then we're going to jump that hurdle, and then we're going to jump that hurdle. It's just I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's
like
fun.
but typically it is that when you have a high like that, that then is more likely to become support. So a previous high will become support once you're above it. However, because support and resistance keeps flipping all the time, where support becomes resistance, resistance becomes support, if you go back far enough through the chart history, typically you will have found a low that does mean that there will be resistance at that level as well. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
so typically when you see those highs, they won't necessarily be resistance unless they're also coupled with a time previously that there was a low at that level.
Yeah, I understand. So, well, where is that low actually? It's somewhere around here, I guess. But
So we'd have to go back to yeah. It does exist back in like mid-Feb, like or sort of late Feb, like around the 20th of Feb. There were
Okay.
lows. That level that we're at now was acting
right, there
as
it is.
support.
yeah,
Well, and
February
again
20th.
And again in late March for a little bit before it broke down again.
Right. Well, you
And
know,
what? From a sorry, carry on, Rob.
no, you please.
Oh, so I have a question on a more of a newbie side. So regarding those price pumps, are they correlated to the launch of Pulse Chain and people are trying to pump their bags, or are they correlated to people putting in limit orders a while back and the price actually hitting that limit order and then going through? What would you say the reason for the
limit orders would actually create resistance, not move
Right.
the price up. In fact, remember that remember that limit orders will never move the price because the price has to come to the limit order, whether it's a buying or selling. So you can create walls with limit orders, but you can't move price with limit orders.
Okay, that's interesting.
The only thing that can move price is a market buy or sell.
Yeah.
And as far as theories as to why the price is going up at the moment, I haven't looked at any on-chain or people's assessment of on-chain, but the theory that I hear being thrown around a lot at the moment, which I believe sounds reasonable to me, is in anticipation of Pulse being launched within the next couple of weeks, people are starting to want to get into Hex so that they get the double. And so this is kind of like the buy the rumor section of the price action, and then hopefully we don't get a too brutal sell the news at the actual fork itself.
Sure, sure.
But
and then overarching all of that is something that I always say is that basically the best advertisement for a crypto is the price going up, and price going up causes the price to go up because people want to buy things that are performing well, and the same thing happens in reverse. Price going down makes the price continue to go down. Like, so it's a sort of a self-reinforcing.
Sure.
I'm 100% sure that this price is going up because of the announcement of mid-May. I'm sure of that. I mean, for me, you know, but also the other thing is that, you know, we've experienced this over the last couple of years is literally tax time in the U.S. really affects the price. I mean, we watched the price fall, then early May, pump, right? So I think those two things combined, and maybe it's relevant this year, maybe it's not, but what I'm kind of feeling is that each year that goes by, people are having to rely on selling their crypto to pay their crypto tax each year as the regulations pump up, and then it's like, you know, so maybe I mean it's just my speculation, but what I kind of figured out early on, and I have put my mind on solving, you know, at least for myself, the puzzle of why price move, right? And yeah, we know it's buying and selling. We know that. But it really comes down to human behavior, right? And so one of the things that really affect the human behavior that makes me want to buy and makes me want to sell or people, and I think it's events, info, and price, right? Like you said, the price is the best sales or, you know, negative sales for a crypto, but then events and info, right? Elon Musk tweeting out, "Hey, we're going to take Bitcoin for Tesla," and then, you know, a month later, "Oh, Bitcoin's bad for the environment. We're not going to take it for Tesla anymore." And you saw the direct effect of that, right? So anyway, but blah blah blah. So I'm always puzzling on, you know, what affects the price, and that's why we get to today with something that I've worked on figuring out what the liquidity chart means, what it means to the price, what it's doing, and like I said, you gave me some good basic information, but so
speaking about the liquidity chart, I have found that for me personally, the more time that has gone past, the less and less weight I put into the liquidity chart. It seems to think things that I thought that those buy walls and areas where there is and isn't liquidity, I think it is far more dynamic than people think. So you see this wall and you're like, okay, that'll help support the price, and then it just blows straight through it. I mean, look at there was a massive buy wall that was basically, I forget what the top price was, but it went all the way down to 7.5 cents or something like that, and it was this huge, massive wall that people suspected that was installed by, you know, a benevolent whale or whatever, and that just got absolutely smashed. Like, it just got absolutely caned through, and we went down to almost 10 cents. So, which shocked me. And there have been many other examples prior to that where, unfortunately, these graphs of liquidity, because the total liquidity is so small, something that looks like a big wall is actually not that crazy, and vice versa, you know? So it can move quick.
And so let me, if you don't mind, I'm going to go through some things that I've kind of ascertained over the, you know, last month or so. But first off, what I noticed, okay, we've got these bars on the left. These are all people that want to use Hex to buy USDC, and on the right we have people with USDC that want to buy Hex, correct?
So yeah, the sellers are on the left.
Right.
The
means
sellers
people
of
with-
sellers of Hex, sorry, because it's obviously
people with, but people with Hex that actually want to use that Hex to buy USDC.
On the left. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then on the
The
right,
the people who want to swap Hex for USDC
right,
are on the left.
left. And then on the right, we have people with USDC that want to buy Hex, that want to use that USDC to buy Hex. So, and then so we've got this center bar. This means this is where things are at right now, right? And then, like, just so over here, one of the things I noticed is that I will ask you like 1,000 questions in a minute. But so as we go farther away, the price of Hex goes up, and the number of Hex locked goes down, right? 213, 211 million, 1.66 million, but the price also goes up. And the same thing on the other side, the USDC numbers go down over time, right? And
Yep.
the numbers go down in the value, the price goes
I should probably just clarify something
Up,
that while
down,
it's helpful for us to think of it that way, as that like buyers on one side, sellers on the other side, keep in mind that when someone provides liquidity to the pool, they might not necessarily be actually thinking about buying or selling. They could just be providing it like in a range,
Liquidity.
and hoping that as the price moves through that range, they are both buying and selling. So the intention of someone entering the liquidity pool is not necessarily, I am going to come in here and buy at this level. They could be spreading that economic energy across a range of prices that they believe that the price is going to fluctuate through, and then make the money on the fees. So just a subtle difference.
That's interesting.
A subtle difference between the intention of the person coming in. They're not necessarily thinking, I'm going to buy or I'm going to sell. And then as the price moves through, they're actually becoming a buyer or a seller. Sorry. Components of their liquidity are becoming buying or selling elements as whether the price is above or below those certain areas of that liquidity that's been added. Sorry that was maybe a little bit of a clunky way of explaining it, but I hope that makes sense.
But let me summarize it real quick and see. You tell me if I've got it, right?
Yep.
So this is not necessarily people that wanting to buy and sell. It's people providing liquidity, so they provide the pair, yes. And
Yes.
the very functionality of them having their coins on both sides, what determines whether it's a buy or a sell, or you know what I'm saying? What
Yes.
determines it, right? What does that? And one more question: what does that bar represent?
The relative position of the current price in relation to the distribution of how they have added their liquidity will dictate how much of it is a buy order and how much of it is a sell order. Yep.
Okay, I understand.
That is one of the positive aspects of the price going up, is assuming that not too many people are actually like dynamically changing their liquidity. What was previously sell orders, like pseudo sell orders, equivalent sell orders, become buy orders as the price moves above those areas of liquidity.
Okay, so that means that well, first thing, what does that bar represent?
The pink one, that's the price.
Well, the pink one. but no,
You mean the height of any of these bars is the amount of liquidity in that bracket.
Right, but that bracket. What is that bracket? What determines what that bracket is? What says this is a group and this is a group and this is a group? Right? You see what I'm saying?
I'll check.
Yeah. What separates these bars from each other in value that makes them separate bars, basically?
I guess they've chosen an arbitrary. I think they've just chosen an arbitrary cutoff for where each bracket starts and ends.
Okay.
It looks like 0.3 of a cent. I think if I'm.
Okay. So it might be algorithmic then, possibly.
Yeah, I think that must be back end shit. That like basically as
Okay.
you add the liquidity, the protocol splits it up into these bars, or this could actually just be the way that this is being displayed. So, i.e., in reality, this is a smooth curve, and they are just presenting it as a bar chart by
The
basically
representation.
by integrating that, like they just integrate the curve over that difference in price and present that as a bar.
Yeah, make it
Something like that.
digestible. Make the data digestible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So,
makes
so I'm
sense.
going to
Yeah.
tell you.
I think-
I'm
I
going to
think
tell you
that's probably
something
more
I
the
did.
case.
Something I discovered today, right? And maybe you can talk about this a little bit. But if you take that value, that's 1597. You take that value on the right hand side, directly on the right hand side of the pink bar, it's 1534. Now, if you add this value in hex price to this value in hex price, divide it by 2, you have this value. I have no idea what the relevance of that is, but I happened to notice it. And then I went in and I took 2 bars to the left and 2 bars to the right. I added those together and half those, and the price went up a little, just a bit.
Yeah, the price was a little bit. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I follow what
Okay.
you're doing. You're adding the height
Adding the
of
hex
each-
price together. Yeah.
Yeah. So this hex is 1597 plus this hex price is 1534. You divide that in half and you get 1565, which is the value at the red line.
Oh, okay. So what that's indicating is that each bar is of equal width.
Okay.
I think that's all. I think that's all that's saying is that basically because
Oh,
the
okay.
bars, because the those deltas, like those changes in price, are equal. So the one bar on each side of it is like they're equidistant. Like they're so then that you would expect that
Okay.
when you add them and divide them, then you should come back to the middle.
Okay. And then as we go here, so let's just say that if we expect the price to bust over 1557, or that's 97. If we expect it to bust over 1597, this 2.52 million hex must be bought. Yes or no?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
It would
okay.
need to. Something I'm just noticing now. I didn't realize this before because I never really looked into this detail. And I think what we're doing here is great because I would never think to talk about this in this level of detail without these questions to prompt me.
Yes. Yes.
Well, this
I've
is why we're here. We're all
It
learning.
really is. Yeah.
So when you think about it, this pink bar, it's the price. That's not a price. That's a price range. So the hex price is actually just within that bar. It's a price that is within that bracket. It's not the entire bar. So because obviously the hex price is like accurate to freaking 8 decimal places or however many DPs it is, and then this bar has a width to it that is actually a range of prices. So that's something else to be aware of in terms of what's going on with like observing that chart.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Okay.
if it's 0.3 of a cent, that's significant, right? Like that's quite a width to be,
Yeah.
to be
it
not
looks like
accurate.
our
within.
range between these two bars just adjacent are 1597 and 1534. So that is a range of .006 cents ish, something like that, somewhere in that neighborhood. But yeah, I mean, that really clears up a lot of it. And by the way, that is why I was hoping to be able to have you in a live stream to ask these questions. Because
Yeah.
not just because I want to know, I could set up a Skype call, but doing it in this manner, everybody can benefit
I
from
can
the
know.
information. Yeah, well, sure, and anybody who watches even later can know. But like, so when you're on stream and somebody's asking you questions in the chat, right? I think it's a little bit hard to get to all of those details. So by doing it in the discussion, I think we can kind of dig out some of this because,
Yeah.
for us to understand, we have to ask the questions, right?
You know,
Exactly.
a lot of people think that, you know, within green rooms before and after the streams, that's where the real talk happens. But in reality, the things that I typically talk about with people before and after streams is the exact same content that we would be willing to say on stream. There's no like secret chats, and it's just that, you know, and so that's why pretty much most of the time I actually stream with people, and we don't actually chat in the green room before and after. We just literally everything we say is on the stream.
Yeah.
Now let me ask this then, because this is another curiosity about understanding what I'm looking at, because that's what I want to do, right?
Yeah. Hit me.
What the hell? What does all of this mean over here? All of this USDC, right? What does it mean?
Do you mean the fact that it's rising, or the
Well, not that it's rising, but just these amounts. What happens when this gets to the center, or does it get to the center?
So with the absolutely incorrect assumption that everything will stay static, like that there will be no changes in the way that the liquidity is distributed as the price moves, which is nonsense because it will. But if you were to assume that that was the case, then the price would basically just move down through all of these bars between the pink one and the area that you're talking about. And then when it gets there, that big bar at the front of the wall just means that nearly twice as much hex units would need to be sold to move through that next bar as the bar before. So so that it would act a bit like a buy wall, in the sense that it would take more hex to continue to move down.
Or move the price, right?
So then, down. Yeah.
So then, how does this side affect that, and all of this in between? Does the action on the buy side dominate the action on the sell side if it has more volume?
No.
Or
no relationship.
He's like, absolutely not.
No relationship.
Go stand in the corner.
No, that's fine. It's fine. The question's fine. No direct relationship, right? However, the only thing that you might be able to say is that if someone was looking at this liquidity provision and making decisions based on that, or partly influenced by that, then you might have an influence psychologically. That if someone sees, so say this buy wall on the buy side, just like Richard, like a benevolent whale, just made that thing, 50 times taller, then someone might be more likely to, like someone on the sell side might think, oh my God, the price is probably going to pump. I'm going to remove my upper liquidity because I don't want to sell at a small price when it looks like this thing's about to moon. So there could be an influence, but it would be, someone would have to come and look at the provision, like come and look at the distribution and have that influence their influence their decision on the other side. It wouldn't be a direct, like there's no direct relationship with how the things are distributed. It's just
just metrics to make decisions from, right?
Yeah, it's just where the liquidity is.
And so then that brings me to the question of what actually affects this. People adding and removing liquidity.
Yeah,
obviously. People swapping one for the other, obviously.
Yep, that moves the price, and in turn does impact what liquidity is on each side. Yep.
Okay.
And are there time limits to this?
No, it's typically, as far as I understand, it's manual. Like you adding and removing the liquidity is, it's not there for like a fixed period of time. It's there until you remove it.
Right.
Yeah. So then, do limit orders actually influence this data in any way?
So there's two types of limit orders that I'm aware of. There's one that Richard mentioned a really long time ago. He gave that big brain strategy that you can basically create a pseudo limit order on a thing like this, where you put the liquidity in, and the way you do it is you add it all at the price that you want to either buy or sell at. So it's like the maximum amount of asymmetry in the way that you are providing that liquidity. It's just literally all in one spike, and then you have to be aware when the price has moved past that, and once it's past that and changed into the other side, you withdraw that liquidity, you pull it out of the LP. So that unfortunately means that you need to be monitoring your computer, or you have to have like an alarm on your phone that'll wake your ass up if the price gets triggered, which is possible. That those sorts of alarms exist, that you can have an alarm on your phone that monitors the price of a cryptocurrency, wakes your ass up, or at least attempts to. The other way of doing
Tim,
it is...
Does that sound familiar, Tim?
Oh, yes, it does. And it wasn't a pleasant experience. Oh, moly.
And then the other way that you can do it is there are like CowSwap has got, I think it's CowSwap, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically where you sign a transaction that says that you're willing to buy at a certain price, and then the protocol trustlessly stores that signed transaction, and when the price gets to that level, then it actually executes a regular style DEX order. So rather than you having to be there, the order is actually waiting there as a signed transaction, and will execute at the right time based on their freaking platform is what will. So it's safe though, because they can't use your coins. The only way that they can use that signed transaction is to do what you want, which is to buy the coins or sell the coins at the price that you have set.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could go and just like execute that transaction, but they'd be selling at a loss if the price hasn't actually got there yet. And then I think that one actually requires our bots to pay the gas. So, or I might be conflating two separate issues here, like two separate ideas or, technologies here. But there might be either another separate one, or part of the one I just said is that because someone has to pay the fee, it'll either be included. The fee will either be included in the transaction that you pre-signed, or some ARB bot will pay the gas for the limit order that you want. I think both of those exist. So, in that, it means that for the one where the ARB bot pays for the gas, it means that the price actually has to move to your price and then a little bit extra, so that they can fund the cost of the gas with the ARB. So does that make sense?
Yes,
Yep.
it does. And by the way, just so you know, I'll probably go back and watch this a few times to get a better absorption of your explanations. So none of it.
You and me
Sorry,
both.
I forgot what was the original question? Sorry, I lost track of it. So
Well,
you were talking about limit orders.
I guess I just wondered how much limit orders actually affect this data.
So bringing it all back to your actual question. If someone does it the first way that I talked about, which is like the Richard Hart Big Brain, you're doing like a pseudo limit order, which has that negative aspect of having to pull it after. It will show up on this liquidity chart because it really is liquidity in the pool waiting to be filled. However, if someone does it one of those other two ways that I just said, which might actually be just the same way, but let's just assume that those were two different options, you won't see it on here because it's hidden. It's just a signed transaction that's waiting behind the scenes. It won't show up on this chart.
Okay. Very good. Now I'm going to shift a little bit. I'm going to, in fact, I'm going to go to my little fridge. I'm going to pop a beer. I've got.
You know what? I'm going to do the same.
Yeah, so we're going to leave.
You know, I'm going out after this. It's Friday night here.
I knew you would be. In fact, listen. I told HexHarrison, I said we cannot guarantee that Hex Tangent will join us because it's Friday night.
Or if he does, we've got to be quick.
Fortunately, you guys got me at a good time because we don't typically go out until late. So like
That's
later.
beautiful.
So
Yeah.
Nice.
This will be the pre-game. I'm going to go and grab a drink.
Vamp it up.
All right.
Vamp it up.
While you guys are away, I'm going to do a little dance in the corner. No, I would encourage people to have a look at the CowSwap website if you have been already. I'm going to put the link in the chat. If for not any other reason than their VI is quite interesting. regarding a crypto exchange. Go and have a look at it, and also as well experiment with the dark mode and light mode on the website, because I've just had a look at CalSwap, and it is very interesting. But anyway, I have a question.
Everything. I dark mode.
Well, no, I was just saying that for people that don't know CalSwap, I just went over to the website and had a look, and it is their choice of VI is rather interesting. So for those that haven't seen it before, it is quite cool.
Nice. I'll check it out.
Vamp over.
So I want to take a sip of this cold beer first. Then
Okay. Minor flex. I
Cheers,
can't
mate.
guarantee. Wait, cheers.
cheers.
Cheers, fellas.
Nice.
I'm drinking this. It's a Running with Thieves seltzer, and I tell my friends that these are rich person seltzers, because my friends all drink White Claw. Like, have you guys heard of White Claw? It's like the frat party drink in the States. It's like a uni drink.
No.
But over here, it's actually incredibly expensive because it's obviously imported.
Of course.
And these are even more expensive. So this flavor is watermelon and wild mint. So could you get something that sounds more posh than watermelon and wild mint? That's why I say to my friends, they're rich person seltzers.
And it's called Little Thieves.
Running with Thieves. Running with Thieves.
Well,
That's
I'm
nice.
check it out. I'm American. I'm drinking Bud Light.
Nice.
I'm
The
English.
beer I
I'm
grew
drinking
up
tea.
Minor flex. This is a maybe flex. I tweeted at Richard about CalSwap because when I first found out about it, I had not heard about it anywhere, and I tweeted at Richard asking him to help me popularize it among the Hexagon community. So this is provable that as in the tweet that I did, and then he actually tweeted out about CalSwap, but he didn't specifically say that it was me that brought it to his attention. So he might have discovered it through a different way. But I like to think that he actually did see my tweet and helped me to popularize it.
Well, we've just discovered it through you, and I've just checked it out and put it into dark mode, and it was quite pleasantly surprising. So yeah.
I like it.
Well, the two of us dig into as much stuff as possible. I've been into it a bit longer than HexHarrison, so I've had a bit more time to peel the layers of the onion back, so to speak.
Yes.
I haven't quite reached the tender center yet, but in due time. But
the other good thing about CalSwap is, so you know how if you don't want to use it for that limit order shit and you just want to actually buy it at you want to market buy, it uses that same system that I was just talking about, where you sign the transaction and submit it to their platform, right? And so it prevents you from getting those sandwich bots attacking your shit, because rather than broadcasting it publicly to the entire network where sandwich bots can steal your money or make it more expensive for you and profit from it, it basically the transactions go to the back end and their back end, and then it gets executed without any of that nonsense. So
nice.
And they also try to find a way to do it peer to peer. So if someone happens to be selling when you're buying, they actually try to basically OTC you off chain.
This is what I want. Yeah, this is what I want. In fact, I think both of us, because we're in China, most of our original crypto buys were peer to peer.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
that was about the only way we could do it. But but what have you gone
was that WeChat? Was that on WeChat?
Well,
Alipay.
Payment methods through Alipay usually, but there are peer-to-peer networks where there were a lot of Chinese sellers, at least at that time, that were really.
I was using
selling
Paxful
BTC.
back in the day.
Paxful, yeah.
Paxful.
Was there a risk?
back in the day.
Was there a legal risk associated with doing that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was. You couldn't mention anything about crypto because you would have to take a QR code from the seller, scan that into your phone and then send it, but you couldn't put any contact, any messages anywhere that said anything about crypto. Then it would have been quite difficult.
I had a funny story. Just to give you an idea, context. Ethereum was about $500 back then. When I was
When it was
trading.
expensive.
Yeah, exactly. And I bought some Bitcoin off somebody, and I paid, and it was about $400, $500, and I sent them the money through the QR code on my Alipay, and I got an automated phone call, as if to say,
right.
we've noticed some activity. Who is this person you're sending to? Do you know their name? Are they a friend? And I'm thinking, wow, this is great. And that was $400. So you can imagine how difficult it was to kind of pump your bag back then.
And that's
not
really scary.
easy.
Wow.
That's really scary.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, I did all my purchases back in summer of 19, right? And everything was under the radar, thankfully. Yeah, so, yeah. But, anyway, I would love to try to have a hex to hex P2P exchange, hexagon to hexagon, or whatever, a P2P exchange where we could do a trustless transaction. It's like, hey, I've just ended some stakes. I want to sell it to hexagons who I know are going to stake it, right? Maybe a pipe dream, but that's always good to dream. Yeah.
Well, you've sold some to me in the past, and I staked it straight away, which was quite good.
As Johnny Chaos says, I did not sell to you. I gave you.
There you go. Yes, you gave me some. Yeah,
I gave you some.
You sold me a sticker, a hex sticker, and you gave me a
Yeah, Johnny Chaos was quick to go. Shh. He's a good fellow. But have you had a chance to check out all the Pulse testnet tools yet?
Me?
Tangent. Yeah.
You know what? Embarrassingly, I have. So the very first testnet that came out, I jumped on it straight away, set it up, and that sort of thing. But with the most recent testnet, I actually haven't had a lot of time on it. But I've roughly stayed up to date with, watching videos by K4K, and that sort of thing, and also seeing people posting on Twitter about what's possible and what's going on there and stuff like that. So I have stayed up to date roughly, but I just haven't had a heap of time to really mess around directly myself.
It's so wonderful to use.
Yeah, everything I've seen is like mind-blowingly good.
Yeah, I mean, and those fake amounts, maybe quite inflated fake amounts, but I go in there every day, and I have a routine, right, that I go through to accumulate assets with assets, blah blah blah, right. Now I've got quite a few liquidity pairs set up because there is no, impermanent loss. There is no risk, so I'm like willy-nilly setting up liquidity pairs. I'm entering into the farms, earning incentive tokens. But here's the thing. I know that I should be getting rewards for just creating liquidity, right? But I cannot see how or where I'm actually getting those rewards. I can't gauge. It's like, I'm making this much by providing liquidity for this pair. I don't actually see the return.
So is the reward token showing up?
Well, we have an LP token, but the amount of that LP token doesn't change. If you set up a liquidity pair, you get 300 LP tokens. That's what you have. Now, the value of that LP token may go up or down. I don't know, but
you have to do that calculation manually. You have to do that calculation manually, or yourself, or somehow externally, because all that that amount of the LP token that you have, that's not supposed to change. That is your the number. That is your component of the LP, and then the value of it is what is internally inside that proportion, like that. So that just represents your percentage of the pool, and then inside that, when you withdraw it, will be whatever the ratio of the tokens is, and I guess the fees. So it's all inside that one thing. So if you want to try and do math, you have to do the math to work out whether you've experienced any impermanent loss, what the value of those is, and the inputs would be the price of each token, what the starting ratio and the end ratio are, so how that ratio has changed, and any fees that you have generated in either or both of those tokens would be the inputs that you would need to work out whether you've made or lost money from.
So here's the real thing, and I obviously on testnet I don't care about that. Now what I can see is obviously that I put this amount of pulse in, and now that number is either here or here. It's either gone up or down, and which means the other number has either gone up or down. But I actually don't know. I can't see where I've actually or where I'm earning the fees. Right, I'm going to get the fee earnings is going to come by the way of PulseX. Yes, is that right?
I think the fees might be in one of the tokens, one or both of the tokens that are in that LP.
Okay.
So the actually don't quote me on this because I haven't actually looked at it in detail, but I was under the impression that the fees when you're in an LP, the fees are in one or both of those native tokens that you've paired together, and that anything that you get as a reward, you actually have to take your LP token and stake it in a reward pool, and that's what actually generates you that additional yield in reward token, which might be, PulseX or the Pulse reward token or whatever the hell.
I think it's the incentive token at the moment.
The incentive,
Party,
PRTY or whatever.
Yeah, what we're finding is at the moment in PulseNet, there's only 5 pools or 5 farms where you can actually stake the liquidity pair token or liquidity pool token to then harvest the incentive token. Now, my question would be, who is it that decides what liquidity pair gets onto those pools or that farm?
So
who controls the farm?
This unfortunately is something that sort of screams centralization. Whenever there's something where some entity is actually the determiner of what tokens are in and out, then obviously there's a decision maker there, right? And so you can have a DAO, but typically DAOs are fake decentralization. Like they're decentralization theater, because but I don't really want to comment negatively until I see exactly how it's going to be.
Like I said, these are just general questions. I've been playing with the testnet for about a week or so. I was having guidance from Rock himself because he's been in it a little longer. I've been kind of diving in and kind of getting in to see, learning how it all kind of works. And one thing we've noticed is we can choose any pair that we want and make it ourselves and add liquidity to that pair. However, regarding staking that liquidity token, we can only do that on the farm. And currently the farm only has 5 pairs available. So we can, and then obviously on each of those pairs, we can have an incentive token and then restake the incentive token that we've earned. So it's like an infinity loop kind of thing.
Do those pairs that are currently there basically linked to Richard Hart projects? Yeah, they're like the.
Yes.
There is a USDC pair, wasn't there? But that was paired with Pulse, so presumably yes.
No. Let's see. There's PulseX. There's Pulse.
Do you want to bring up the slide?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Oh no, of course you don't. Yeah, sorry.
No. I don't want to give any clues.
Okay. No.
We've got PulseX. We've got Party Token PulseX. We've got Incentive Token Pulse. We've got Incentive Token PulseX, and there is one Pulse to USDC. Yeah.
That's 5.
So yes, all of them are Richard Hart projects. Yeah. So I mean, look, it might expand outside of that, but I do remember Richard making a comment at one point where he said he's obviously not going to be handing out like reward tokens to support like garbage projects, and so it'll just depend. Like it'll depend where he draws that line as to what is garbage and what is not garbage. So he might say anything that's not one of my projects is fucking garbage, but he might, or he might extend it out a little bit further than that or a lot further than that. And I'm hoping that he draws the line quite far down the spectrum where he's actually only ruling out legitimate scams, like stuff that is like either legitimate scams or like near zero liquidity bullshit projects, and not and allowing the rest of the ecosystem to have incentive to provide LP, because we really want this ecosystem to thrive, right? And if anyone starts sort of like, if let me rephrase that, if people external to the Hex community perceive that there are advantages being given to projects that are Richard Hart centric, it could give them a distaste for the Pulse ecosystem as a whole. And it's the main reason why Richard, despite Hexicans crying for some kind of benefit or advantage when it came to the Pulse sacrifice, Richard said, no benefit will be given
I remember
to people sacrificing Hex, because that's not fair on everyone else, and we want this to be an inclusive system. So assuming that he maintains that style of ethics and that also that style of not ethics, ethos, assuming he maintains that ethos, then I would expect that there will be many pairs being rewarded.
I get the sense, and I did since first starting to listen to him back in early 19, right? That his goal was to keep things even-handed, to make things fair for people who things aren't fair for in general, giving us the opportunity to interact with a financial system that we could literally interact with without just getting stepped on. I mean, like the Pulse launch, not allowing, whale accounts to free claim Hex, right? Right. So yeah, I just like that about him.
Or at least appear to be fair. And what I mean by that is, we all know that there will always be an underlying benefit to the Hex community because of the fact that disproportionately Hex community members were aware of the Pulse launch and more enthusiastic about the Pulse, sacrifice. So there's going to be a disproportionate amount of wealth generation allocated to Hexicans and people who are friends and family of Hexicans.
Yes.
More than any other crypto community. So you don't need to actually skew it in an obvious way and make it like obvious that we're getting benefited as a group, because that's going to happen as an undercurrent anyway.
Yes. But here's the thing, and this is the real key, right, to me, and that is, doesn't matter if you were a day 1 Hexican or a day 15,000 Hexican, right? That is going to be, it is going to be lucrative on Pulse Chain, because that's it. These things are designed with the same things in mind. And so it's not necessarily to say that, well, if you're not Hexican today, tough shit, right? It's like, no, you will benefit from interacting with Hex on Pulse Chain, whether it's today, tomorrow, next year, or 10 years from now. And I think that's the key. And that's why we're lucky that we've obviously been in it. And we're lucky that we saw the flag raising up the pole when he says, I'm going to launch a chain so that, you can actually interact with your Hex without getting wrecked. Anyway, it's just good stuff. Yeah. But so with the farms, right? So you create the liquidity pair that has a farm, and then you get the LP token, you stake the LP token into the farm, and you get this, at least on testnet, this wonderful incentive token, which has a value right now of 2,000 USD ish, right?
You just reminded me. You just reminded me a comment I made on the last stream, a comment that Dozler and I both made that's important for everyone to note. I think this is very important, is do not take things that are happening on the testnet as an indication of what may happen on mainnet, because it is completely different when people are using real money.
Well, yeah. Like I said, I have no consequences, right? And that's why I say
exactly.
That thing could be less than $1.
That no consequence shit makes people just do dumb shit, or silly shit, just go all in on Pulse or go all in on Hex and just do things that they just would not do if they were using real world money.
I have
So
12 different liquidity pairs set up on PulseX. Never in my wildest dreams am I going to do that anytime within the next 5 years. All right. I got a lot to learn before I do that.
All the stats are wrong. Like all the stats, like I would not even use them as a mild indicator of what could happen. Like I would completely disregard.
They're a very good marketing tactic, aren't they? Really, because every time you interact, you go woo.
But
that's a good point.
Having the understanding of how you, I think having the understanding of how you actually, what you can do, what buttons you can push to actually generate new assets. That's really the takeaway, right? It doesn't matter the value of those assets right now or even what they are in the beginning, but accumulating those assets, gaining some kind of yield in the same way that we do with Hex. So that's the way I look at it. I'm like, I'm a gazillionaire, woohoo!
And also, go on. Sorry, carry on.
I'm going to sound completely crazy saying this, but I think I might have actually just changed my mind a little bit on. So you know how when you see wicks and it gives people like hope or like a mental possibility of what is possible. Like you see that wick and you're like, oh, someone was willing to pay that ridiculous price, even though it's probably just a fat finger accidental buy. They didn't mean to do it, but it opens the door of possibility. Or actually, let's use a better example.
16.
The fact that Hex went to 50 cents or over 50 cents means that people are aware of the possibility that it could happen again and go even further, right? So
exactly.
Perhaps on the test net, people seeing these Richard Hart projects just absolutely skyrocketing in price psychologically could make them believe that is possible and modify their behavior either slightly or a lot. And so in that sense, maybe, but that's like a very out there theory. I think I would, if I was going to choose one, I would go with what I originally said, where it's like completely unrelated. Oh, we made 16 cents. Boom.
Yes, we did make 16. Yeah. So what I want to say here is that definitely being in there using the system has influenced some of my ideas of what risks I might be willing to take. Right, and that would really be so. There's a.
Do you want to give an example?
Yeah, there's a couple of them first, and that is the farms. Staking LP tokens to the farms yields incentive tokens for me. Right, I think that is going to be something I'm going to be tempted to do. Right. Now, there's that. And, of course, we know the risks of providing liquidity. But at least I have the incentive token. Plus, I think the liquidity rewards will still be there. I'm not sure. But then the other thing is, now, when I have Hex on both chains, I did purchase some SHIB with Fiat, not with Hex. But I did purchase some SHIB just because they're going to actively develop on Pulse Chain. And I didn't purchase a lot, but... And just as something to provide liquidity for on Pulse.
Is Shiba a freaking ERC20?
Yes. Yeah. And they're developing. They're actively going to develop on Pulse Chain. They've come out and said it. Yeah.
I assumed this entire time that they had their own chain, like because you know how Dogecoin's got its own chain. So I just assumed. So SHIB is a freaking ETH token. God damn.
Yeah, and so...
And are you saying they've actually publicly stated that they are going to develop on Pulse?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, that's
good
actually
doggy.
why...
Good little doggy.
I know.
That's actually why... That's why I picked some up, because, the price is low, and it's like... But it kind of... I see it kind of as providing me a fodder token, right? Which means that, well, I'm going to take any of those ERC20s I have, I'm going to bridge them over. I'm going to create the liquidity pair. I don't care about losing or gaining. It's like they're not a risk, right? But the Hex, on the other hand, I do really want to create the Hex liquidity pair. Because I want to help to kind of support the price evening out, but also because I think it could be quite lucrative without a lot of risk. Do you think hex liquidity pair is risky or no?
It's so I don't think it's risky. Like, as in, I mean, you're mitigating against the risk of impermanent loss because you're using two tokens which are very likely to stay reasonably close together, particularly if a lot of whales provide liquidity around the 1-to-1 ratio. We were actually just talking about this on the last stream as well. And then, so I'll tell you one risk that does exist that people may not have thought of. By bridging your ETH hex into Pulse to create the pair, if in my opinion, highly unlikely scenario that Pulse Chain had some significant bug or failure, you have removed you have redundancy by having hex on two chains. You have just eliminated that redundancy by putting them both onto a single chain. So now, if something was to happen to Pulse Chain, whereas your ETH hex would have actually just remained as a functioning ERC20 token and you would have not been completely wrecked, now you're quote unquote putting all your eggs in one basket. So that is even though I know that Pulse Chain is going to be solid, it's still a risk that people need to consider. And then as far as but I don't think you're going to get a lot of fee. I don't think you're going to get a lot of fees is the other risk in terms of opportunity cost for yield, because keeping in mind that you can also stake your hex or like get one of these kind of like maxi token things on a future launch or whatever. But ignoring that, if you think about like the yield that you're going to get, because I believe that benevolent whales are going to provide thick ass liquidity around that 1-to-1 ratio to keep the two hexes pegged together, you are unlikely to see much volatility that would generate you fees from that LP. So unless the reward token that you get, the incentive token or whatever it is that you're going to get from taking that LP token and staking it, unless that is juicy, then I don't think the yield is going to be that great.
Okay.
Is that one of the pools that does? Is that one of the supported pools at the moment? Hex, like EHEX, PHEX?
Not yet.
In the farms. Hex is nowhere near the farms right now.
I think that would be a major factor in deciding whether you do that or not. And keep in mind that I believe there are benevolent whales, not necessarily just the OA, but more broadly, who will be more than willing to do that on behalf of the community. So I know you said that you see it as a charitable deed or whatever to do that. I would say just
don't
run,
do that.
No. Do what you want. But I'm just saying.
No, I get it.
Don't feel compelled to do something that's not in your best financial interest.
Sure.
Because I believe there will be enough people out there who are like in a financial position where they can do that and really like not
and for
worry
sure
about
I
the financial
won't do it.
implications.
I won't do it unless it's the right move for me. But I heard a conversation. It was I think it was a live call. It might have been a Twitter Spaces. This has been 2-3 months back. There was a lady on there. She was an economist out of MIT who happened to also be very knowledgeable about crypto. And she said at that point in time that for the first 6 to 8 months of Pulse Chain, that she thought the hex to hex liquidity pair would earn more than staking for those first few months, and to keep an eye on the rewards for that liquidity pool. And as soon as they start to dip, then change your strategy back to staking.
So I think she's baking in an assumption when she says for the first few months. That makes it sound to me like she's expecting the I can hear water running.
Yeah, me too. Water.
Oh, that could be my end. Apologies. Carry on.
No need. Just go.
I think she's basically saying until the liquidity pool really fills up, and So, but I think that's going to happen a lot faster than she thinks. So,
Right.
so,
Yeah,
so she's thinking that she's thinking that this thing's going to ramp up slowly, like a regular blockchain, because blockchains typically they don't get like instant adoption. She's not banking on the fact that there is an entire community and how everything, the sales pitch of everyone coming over and being involved immediately, and the hype that's been built up, the Hex community being very, very, very enthusiastic about this. I think, and the fact that there are those whales that I was just talking about a second ago, who are just like big dogs who want this thing to be as stable. I think maybe she's going to get a surprise at how quickly that LP is going to fill up.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
and then obviously then you're fighting over, and then that really brings the APY of
APR
the
down,
reward down massively, because you're competing against a huge, unless the benevolent whales who go in large do not stake for the reward. So they literally do it just benevolently to link the prices together, and they don't go and dilute. So look, if it was the OA doing it, I reckon that would be their play. But if it's a whale that's not the OA, then I think they're going to want that reward token, right?
But here's the thing, though. So again, there is no hex, and maybe there's no hex farm right now because there really isn't any hex that we can bridge over, right? We don't have any hex that we can bridge over. So
I think you can. You can bridge over from the Ethereum testnets.
Yeah, so Rickaby is the test net that we're bridging Ethereum over with, right? We do a drip and blah blah blah. Now,
and is Hex not on there?
Well, I can send Pulse over from testnet to testnet, right? I can send Pulse over that way, but I haven't actually tried to bridge over Hex. I'm going to try to do that. But the thing is that when I send Pulse from V2B over to Rickaby, then what I get is a wrapped Pulse. When I send it back, it unwraps. So it just goes back into my Pulse pool. So I don't know how I would get. Maybe I can try to swap the ETH for Hex on that side and maybe try to bridge that over. But I'll go in and experiment with that and test it and see.
Yeah.
But
apologies that I also haven't tested that, but I assume that you would be able to.
Yeah, I'll check it out and I'll go through it. But the question is, do you think that Richard Hart would actually set up a farm, or that there will be a farm for you to stake the LP token for a hex pair? Is that a protective move to have it or not have it?
I'd like to think he would, because it incentivizes, unless he thinks that he's just going to link those up with huge liquidity himself, so he doesn't need to incentivize others to do it. So I think he would do one or the other. He would either create a strong incentive for hexagons to do it, or just do the huge liquidity himself. The final comment I'll make about that economist situation, that chick's comment, is because this is a dynamic system that you can monitor real time, it doesn't actually matter if she is wrong. So it's not a strategy that you have to implement and then be scared that if it's wrong, you're going to get wrecked. Because what you can do is you can just take her advice, go in large or at any scale, get the reward token, and if I'm right and the rewards drop very quickly compared to what she's expecting, then you just pull your shit out and do something else with it. So
it's not a permanent. It's not a permanent move.
It's not like a hex stake where you're just you're really committed to that action. Postulating about whether it will happen or not is probably actually not that important. I think roll with the flow.
I can do it and then just judge it and then see. It's like, okay, is this right or wrong?
Exactly.
But I will have I'll have a stake ending soon after launch or somewhere around launch. So I will have Hex to use for that, and I made sure that I would so that I could make that move if I wanted to. So yeah, I think I'll try it. But definitely Shib is going, and any other ERC20s that are just like totally tanked. It's like, go over there, play with the rich kids. Right?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, especially like I said, I was really encouraged that the Shib guys were going to develop on Pulse Chain. I just thought that was cool.
Yeah, you know,
Well,
just,
according-
even just as a vote of confidence, like just even just so that we've got someone to point to be like, look, they're non-hexicans that are like a non-hex project that is getting keen to be involved in this new ecosystem. I think it's great.
And they've got a pretty good amount of users, right?
Well, according to T-Bird, according to T-Bird in the chat, that the Shib guy's going to be at PulseCon, so he's heard.
Yeah, one of the devs.
That's according to. Yeah. So.
Yo, Shib was one of the best performing assets of like that period, or like of that recent kind of period.
Yeah.
And depending how you cherry pick your shit, like your start and end points, it actually smoked Hex like real hard over like certain
over the period of time.
periods.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
when you look at crypto bubbles that shows like the different sizes of the gains, Shib just absolutely smoked. And the only reason I'm not bigging them up, I'm just saying when you say like that they've got there are a lot of people who are
users
in that community does exist and is also highly enthusiastic. So
Yes.
I think, you know, I actually think if you were to say to me, choose a community that you can just wave a magic wand and get that community to be on Pulse, I'm struggling to think of one that I would prefer. Who would you guys pick?
Well, I wouldn't pick any.
Maybe Link.
Yeah. I wouldn't pick any just because I don't think I could make an intelligent decision on it. To be perfectly honest, but I do recognize the fact that Shib has a lot of users. It's a fairly new and energetic token community. It's got a lot of action on it, and I did hate it a lot because I thought that a lot of Hexicans might be selling Hex to buy it. They FOMO'd in, but whatever. Those are days gone by. But yeah.
At what time? At what time? Do you mean when they announced that they were going to support Pulse, or you mean back when they were?
Before October, September,
okay.
October, November, December. It's like I just kind of felt this intuition that we might have some people exiting Hex for it, or at least selling some part of their bags. But you know, it's not my business what people do with their money. But
people chasing pumps is something that's never going to stop. You know, there's always going to be people chasing pumps. It's gonna.
Well, it'll stop for some. Right, Tim?
I can tell you that firsthand. Yes, it will.
No. So if you're looking at the individual, then yes, people eventually grow and develop. But then there'll be that new group of people who are new to crypto. So there'll always be. And if you assume that adoption rates in crypto are on the increase, the group that is new actually gets larger and larger over time. So you end up with this situation where the adoption's great, but I think the percentage of noobs within crypto actually gets worse and worse over time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a human behavior that we will not evolve out of anytime soon, right? I mean, you know, the gold rush looks great until you're digging a hole in a river and you're not pulling anything out, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's all so interesting. But look, I picked up Doge and I picked up Chainlink back in, well, about a year and a couple of months ago. So, you know, maybe before spring. So sometime February, March, last year.
Oh my god, dude! The price just pumped by like 0.5 cent to 16.5 cents. Holy shit, bro!
Nice.
It's not showing on your chart yet, but I can see it on mine.
There it is. There we go. On the daily chart, it went up quite a good bit. Yeah, man. I mean, this is kind of what I expected. Do you know that I posted a chart from a year ago right, on Twitter. Let me see if I can just find the
Bro, you've got to be shitting me. This is hectic.
Yeah, but this is what we saw last year at this time, also. Okay.
This thing. Okay. So we need to start drawing parabolas on this motherfucker. Sorry. Am I allowed to swear on this channel?
Oh, absolutely.
Too late.
Yeah, fucker. Yeah, watch your fucking mouth.
Actually,
That's the only fucking reason you're here, brother.
guys, that is actually on you guys, because if you have seen my streams and you know how much I swear on my streams, you would need to warn me pre-stream if it was a no swearing rule.
No.
Honestly,
your responsibility.
I think you've done very well.
It's one of the reasons why we chose you to come and join us, because you're smart and you swear. Period. Two things are necessary.
I try to not swear, or at least not swear as much when I'm on other people's streams.
So this tweet right
on
here,
my
check
own
this
stream.
out. Check this
me.
out, right? All right. So this is April 2022.
Yep.
Right? So this is what we saw. We dipped all the way down here, right? And now let's go to what happened after that. Right? Boom, boom. That's from last year.
Damn.
Right? And there was no pulse chain announcement. There was no news. There was no nothing. That was just what I was speculating that this was happening because, well, tax season was kind of over. People could get back to business, right? But again, if you can see here, observation. It's just an observation. I'm not saying anything other than this is what I saw, right? And HexHarrison and I, we actually went through that, right? Mm-hmm. I think we were probably still holding Bitcoin at that time, but we were, because the charts for Bitcoin were kind of the same, but it's like, it felt like a tax dip to me then. And anyway, blah, blah, blah. But that's kind of what we're seeing now. This is April 28th, right?
Yeah,
What's today?
that is
April 28th,
right?
Yeah.
That's
This is April 20th.
That's definitely a coincidence that is worth considering if there's like an underlying cause.
Yeah, well, I do think tax season makes people pull back on everything. Tipping waiters and waitresses, going out to dinner, buying stuff. I mean, that's just the way it works. And anyway, now I think that this pump is happening because, Richard Hart came out and said, I think mid-May is in the cards, guys. I want to buy more Hex right now, right? So,
I love Hex.
I do too. I mean, HexHarrison and I, we have a little joke that we did. I was like, we get paid to poo. We get paid to sleep. We get paid to eat.
Sleep.
We get paid.
I like paid to sleep. For sure.
But I mean, So when I knew I was going to buy and hold Bitcoin back in summer of 19. I knew that. I had been watching Richard Hart for quite a while. I had started because I decided I was going to research crypto at that time. It's like, okay, it's time for me I've got some brain space, and I'm going to buckle down. I'm going to research and figure it out. So a lot of influencers came across my YouTube screen, right? And guess what? Slowly all of the attention went to Richard Hart and less to everybody else until it just finally solely went to Richard Hart. I stopped watching any of the other guys and just Richard Hart. And why? Because he wasn't charging money for the information he was giving, and he was blatantly honest.
Just
blatantly.
on point, always on point.
Yeah. And
I was lucky enough to go to the...
go ahead. Go ahead, Tim.
I was saying I was lucky enough to go to the second anniversary in London. So
I just saw that picture on your man. I was just
Yeah.
I was just on your Twitter, and I just saw that picture of you with Richard Hart and got mad envious.
Yeah, I know. Well, actually, I met some great Hexicans in that event, and one of them's in the chat now. Shout out to Hex Blanca, who we've buddied up and sort of doing hex strategies together. So yeah, it was a great event, and he's watching at home in his home office at the moment.
Okay. So, well, anyway, anytime he pops in, he definitely should join us if he can, Well,
but, I think we've got to definitely, the invites out there. Get your Skype set up sorted, and we can bring you in. Anyway, it was a great event.
So I was like going, HexHarrison, you have to go. You have to go. You have to go. I can't go. You have to go. Right? Remember.
Oh, well,
I
didn't even realise.
You've got to go.
Well, I didn't realise that it was an event happening until Rock pointed it out, and I kind of did some research, and I went, "Oh, that's just up the road."
Get your ass to the party, dude. You're in the city.
Okay, off we go.
But it was very cool because
Rock, you are a good friend. You are a good friend to make sure he didn't miss that.
Well, yeah, but he was a good friend for letting me enjoy it through him, because he stayed on Skype with me through a lot of it and did like the camera showing around, and I mean,
nice.
So
I've actually got one of the.
He kind of
I'll tell you.
carried me with him.
Well, I was
just saying. I was just saying he carried me with him in his pocket, right? And this is what's going on. So I at least got to experience like that, right?
I'll tell you a funny story. A little behind the scenes is I turned up quite early to that event, and it was in a sort of massive building called Victoria House, which has been converted into many small event spaces and galleries and things like that, right? And it wasn't quite sure which one we were supposed to be in, and nobody quite knew because they weren't ready to let us in. So we and Hex Blanca, who's in the chat, and a couple of other guys were actually waiting in the lobby, because it was the coldest day of the year so far in the UK. It was freezing. It was about -2 outside. And so the promoters came out and said, Richard wants everybody outside as like and there was already about 500-600 people outside anyway, all waiting to get in, freezing their little tits off. And we were like, all right, if he wants us to go outside, we'll go outside. So we went outside, and the producers were like, oh, sod it, just go back in again. So we went back in and sat on the reception. There's a big sofa where the reception area is indoors, and because we were cold, right? So anyway, we've got, I was able to film one of the only videos of actually Richard Hart coming into the venue. And actually sort of being surprised that there was hexagons already in, because he thought all the hexagons were outside, and actually there was a group of hexagons inside, and you can see his face generally light up with like glee, and he had that smile on all night. It was a really good time. It was a great event, and I think it's just proven that the hexagon community is probably the best community in crypto, pretty much. So it's really it was a good time. So yeah,
I agree with that.
So
yeah, I was pumped. I was pumped as soon as Richard started doing the Europe tour.
Sure.
Because even though I was obviously already convinced that Hex was not a scam, I was even more convinced by the fact that, like, if you were a scammer, there's no way you would go and like.
Well, that's what I mean.
People
it's like,
in person and like
so ridiculous.
Like you know what I mean? You would have to be a special type of psychopath, like sociopath.
Really, yeah.
To be able to go and look people in the eyes and shake their hands and then go and do a rug. Like, do you know what I mean? So
exactly. It's just mental.
That gave me a lot of confidence.
Richard Hart has done nothing but provide comfort to the community.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
it's all it is. And whether it's hard truth or keeping us informed, spending his time to let us know that he's there, right?
Well, I've got.
By the way,
before you get to your next sentence, I've got to do a quick shout out to all the UK hexagons that are in the chat right now.
Yeah, do it up.
And apparently they were at the event as well. So big shout out to T-Bird, the Beach Whale, and Hex Blanca. Obviously, thanks for joining us. Yeah. But anyway, sorry, Rock, to interrupt. Carry on.
Well, no. So what I was going to say is that part of the thing that I was able to really enjoy about the party, being here stuck in China, is the fact that Tim was sending me videos and pictures and everything, and I was posting up for him, on my channel, but shouting it out, And so I got to be like cub reporter, kind of thing. So it was such a cool experience, and yeah. So I got to post that video up of Richard Hart coming into the venue, right, and shout HexHarrison out for it.
And also, what you need to remember is that was quite a while after the European tour, and he'd kind of gone AWOL for a bit, and it was the first time he actually kind of popped out in real life, so to speak. So it was quite a refreshing thing to see that it was actually, the guy was actually in the buildings, so to speak. So that is quite cool. And of course, the LV bag made an appearance, the RGB LV bag, which was cool.
So. Check out Tangent. Check out the beginning of this video right here. Can you see that on screen? Hold up.
I can see it.
What do you see here? That's Richard Hart rolling into the party. So I used it in the intro to my music video.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and then at the phone.
Yeah, that was
anyway. But yeah. He said he said that. So anyway, I used it in because I wanted to represent Hex in, my music video, because really, I'm able to fund my music, not because I sell Hex to do it, but because I don't have to put all my money in savings. I can actually use it for stuff, right? Yeah. Because of Hex. So anyway, yeah. That video is part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. It was a good time. It was a good time.
Legendary.
Yeah, and you know that he was really enjoying himself. I'm sure that, and he deserves it. I mean, I always say that groups usually take on the values of their leader. If the leader's really
yes.
And so I think one of the reasons why we love the community is because we all share those values. Really, at a core level, everybody's not perfect, but at a core level, everybody kind of shares that.
Yes. I think that's why there's so much talk about making the world a better place and action. Sorry, I don't mean that to make it sound like that it's just talk and not action, but talk and action. Make the world a better place. About making the world a better place, because that's how Richard presents his thought process. And so I like it. And also that's what made me really excited when he started getting mouthy about human rights, freedom, free speech, financial not financial freedom in the sense of like being free of a job, financial freedom in terms of like freedom to transact with who you want, like actual freedom of use and storage of your finances, not financial freedom as in having enough money to do whatever you want. But it's that too. Oh my God, Hex just pumped again. Oh my God, 16.65 cents. Are you kidding me? Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Richard.
I'm sorry, Tangent. But as long as this price is pumping, you are stuck on this stream,
we were
brother.
staying on this stream. My friends,
you are locked down.
Oh my God. Bro,
I want to
madness.
It's beautiful, right? I want to get back to the make a world a better place thing, because to me, that is the core message. The core message. I think a lot of people kind of miss that over time. And I always kind of think to myself, when somebody replies to one of my tweets with some snickety stuff, I just want to go, fuck off, right? but I have to stop myself and go, wait a minute, does that make the world a better place? And it's like, no. So what can I say that actually makes the world a better place? And, at least try to keep a positive message to engage the conversation, instead of going, man, just get the hell out of here. You're blocked. Yeah. But I mean, that's a core message. That is the core message of Richard Hart and I mean, look, my first the first videos that I watched, the first streams that I watched, and continuously throughout all of this time, all of these months, that's always been the message, the core, you know. Anyway, it's one of the reasons why I think we're a good community, because I think that core message is the foundation.
Tickets for Hexaco before long.
Hexaco.
Yeah. Hexador,
right? You want to go?
Yeah,
you want to go to Hexador?
Day 43. Day 43 was joking, was saying how Richard Hart mentioned creating his own nation state as like a casual passing comment, like a fucking side note on he was like listing off stuff. He's like, yeah, you know, we got to do this, got to launch Pulse, got to maybe create a MetaMask equivalent wallet, launch our own nation state, just listing these things off, and just casually mention creating his own fucking country,
right. And
we were having
people
a laugh
run with
about
that
that.
shit. People run with that shit too, right? But yeah, so
Well,
I think
yo.
Frosty.
I tell my friends, I'm like, yo, Hexicans do not fuck around.
Exactly.
They said that let's do a NASCAR. Boom, NASCAR.
Done.
That was not pipe dream shit. It got done, and there's been other examples as well.
It wasn't this blah blah blah.
It wasn't all like, oh, we could do this, and just big dreams with no follow through.
So right.
Hexicans just come in and they just get it done. It's awesome. And then there was that other racing series as well, wasn't that in Europe or the UK? That Lambo.
The Hex Lambo.
That is madness.
I think Hexy Bastard helped set that up, and a couple of the other UK Hexicans. That was definitely
one of my favorite names in the community.
Hexy
Bastard.
Hexy Bastard.
Well, but we do get stuff done, and I don't know how well you remember it, Tangent, but those early days or at least those videos pre-launch for Hex in 19, he talked a lot about marketing, and he talked a lot about, well, should we spend our gains? Should we spend, the tokens economy on marketing, or should we just market? And he talked about that a lot. Talk about, people doing the marketing themselves, and he manifested it. I mean,
do you know how many different disciplines people learn by being in crypto? You just reminded me that marketing is marketing, human psychology, mathematics, cryptography, economics, politics, just literally I already said human psychology, all the things to do with price action. Just it's it encourages you to learn about everything, because you to be involved in crypto properly, you kind of do need to start to understand all of these concepts.
Well, at the very least, you have to be, you have to have some form of analytic mind, unless you're just the monkey pressing the button for the green light or red light, right?
We need that too.
That would be nice.
But interestingly enough, though, if you look at testnet, and if you look at a lot of crypto front ends, you don't actually have to understand why a treat is falling into the dish. You just have to understand how to make the treat fall into the dish, right? On that level. Now, things could happen that you're not aware of that will go, sorry, right? Wrong move. But, anyway, I think that's one of the nice things about it, especially with Hex, because look, we feel safe with Hex because we know the rules, and we know if we follow the rules, if we follow the process, we will be rewarded. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
Price goes down, I still get more Hex every day. So
I've got a question regarding that, and I think me and Rock have discussed that regarding the stakes and ending. When stakes end, how that affects the price, and does it actually affect the price?
Yeah, that's a good question to ask Tangent.
Yeah.
So I guess there's two
just as the
elements.
suns come out.
Two elements where it can affect price is if the person whose stake has ended, it decides to dump, then obviously, we've seen sharks and shit dumping aggressively in the past. Obviously, they'd be crying now, yo. They were dumping
they were dumping at like sub 12 cents, sub 13 cents. And now, obviously, when you look at the amount they were dumping, it's possibly millions of dollars less than, or maybe not millions, sorry, like hundreds of thousands of dollars less than what they could have got up here at these levels. Plus, it would have got up here a lot faster if they hadn't dumped them, by the way. But anyway,
Right.
So if the person decides to dump and the bag is big enough, then that could impact the price. Or if the stake that is ending is so large that people are worried that it might dump, or it comes from a wallet that historically has shown to be a dumper, there could be pre-dumping of people in anticipation of that stake ending. So there's two elements there. But obviously, we know that the stake ending doesn't directly impact the price. It's only through one of those two mechanisms, and possibly others that I'm not thinking of, that can impact the price.
So new coins minted, right? Does that change the price? A big shit ton of new coins being minted into the ecosystem, does that affect the price?
Changes the cap. It affects the cap. It makes the market cap go up.
But it doesn't change the price?
Not directly.
Okay. But the dumping does.
Do you guys agree or disagree with me on that? Like,
well, no, I can't. I can neither confirm nor deny because I have no clue.
We're trying to work it out, basically.
I feel like it should affect the price. I feel like it should affect the price.
So, in my opinion, if it does impact the price, it's actually indirectly through those two mechanisms that I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to say one thing is that I expect some red candles between the 10th and the 15th of May. And I've been watching this for a long time. I don't
Is that
think
the
a lot of people have.
sell the news? Is that the sell the news candles?
Nope. It is this right here. May 9th. May 9th actually is when it will happen. In fact, I can't do that.
Is there an epic stake ending on May 9th?
Epic end stakes. Let me change the metrics on this thing so we can see 2 weeks from now. So we can actually see the...
You've got to ask yourself, does that motherfucker want the copy on Pulse Chain?
Yeah.
So there it is. Dump that shit.
Yeah.
But do they know that they're going to get a copy on Pulse Chain?
1.12 billion hex ending stakes
Billy.
on the 9th.
Oh, fat Billy.
No.
Oh, bro, that's not...
So here's what I want to say. I've been watching this since November because really I feel like November was the time when end stakes started becoming much bigger, right? Because that's that 2-year mark, right? And so I started watching this chart and watching the price. And every time we got these huge red candles on the end stakes, every day, we had one on December 2nd, which was the party, right? Boom, look at the chart. What happened after that? December 17th, massive amount coming out. Look at the chart after December 17th, right? January 2nd was another huge one. Look at the charts after that. And people aren't really talking about this, and probably it's a good idea that they're not, right? Because, I feel at least like for me, and I could be wrong, because I've watched it and I've watched the effect of it, it could be a predictor. And if it is a predictor, then it might allow people to actually gain a little bit.
Yeah, that is huge. That is a huge amount of hex.
Yeah.
Has anyone looked at who owns that? Because if say let me give you an example, right? If that was an origin address or daughter address, then I wouldn't worry about it.
Yes.
Because Richard's got diamond hands. But
again, what I'm saying though,
and also, like I said, we could look at that address and look at the history of how it's behaved. If it's not an origin address, then we just look at the history of how it's behaved in the past. Yeah. And then we find where that motherfucker lives, and we go round to his house and tell him, if you dump that shit, I swear to God, I will get Will Smith to come round here
and slap you up,
slap some sense into you.
But I just want
take
to
the word stake out of your mouth.
again, I use the word observation just like I did in the tweet. Observation, right? The observation is, and I've observed it, that every time we've had a huge spike in these end stakes, we have been followed by days of dips, days of red candles.
Okay. So you've already observed.
I've seen it.
That correlation. Shit.
Just look at the days after December 2nd. Look at the days after December 17th. Look at the days after January 2nd.
So
and I think there was one on March 17th. Yeah. And then just see what happens after the 9th, right? Now this may not be a place where somebody would dump because of what you just said, pulse chain imminent, double the tokens. But if it's a whale that says, you know what, I'm going to stake this huge amount of money for 4 months and take the yield, well, he doesn't have to sell the principal. His yield will probably be quite hefty, right? And yeah, anyway, that's observation. Like I said, I'm not predicting anything, but that's what I saw. So
I mean, I'm really glad you told me about this. This is important.
Yeah, well, it is because remember, before November of last year, we did not see a lot of these massive end stakes happening on any kind of a regular basis. They were all down, in the millions, in some cases in the thousands, right? But then once November hit, that was that 2-year mark where it's like, hoo, I'm rich, living buying Lamborghinis and Porsches and cowboy hats and whatever else.
Lambo time.
Yeah.
Hey,
so anyway,
I'm gonna have to go real soon, but before I go, can I show you a chart that basically I custom created this chart based on a question that Jim Rat asked me. Shout out to Jim Rat, by the way. I go on his streams all the time. They're great.
Nice, yeah.
Love Jim
basically, Rat. So basically, he asked me about the sort of to compare and contrast how Hex has been performing and how Bitcoin has been performing over a certain period of time. And I thought the easiest way to make that comparison is to actually chart the Hex versus Bitcoin chart. But because it didn't exist, I created it. And so this chart here, can you share it?
Yeah. You want me to share it? Where did you send it?
Yeah.
Private.
No. So it should just on Restream. So I shared.
Oh, there it is. There it is. I see
you
it.
have
I
to
got
just
it.
click
I got
on it.
it.
Yeah, that's it. All right.
I got
so
it.
look at this. Look at this very very sustained downtrend with only one candle really, or a couple of candles that were above this trend line. Right. And then look at this breakout down here. So basically, this is effectively the price of Hex going down against Bitcoin from end of September 21 till basically now. And it has just absolutely smashed out of this downtrend. And this is typical of when coins do this, it is very bullish, like very bullish. So
yeah,
I would expect to see that Hex will be making gains against Bitcoin, if not also the dollar, over the next, at least maybe like 4 days to a week, that we're going to see continued upward price action. So that's really good. That's really good. And just the important part is just getting out of that bloody downtrend. Like getting out of that downtrend is the key. And I mean, you see something similar on the Hex chart. This is oh wait, that's not zoomed out enough. But this downtrend of Hex versus dollar, we've also broken out of that as well. So it's good news. I mean, price going up is always fun times. And yeah.
I want to throw this other chart in here real quick as well. So, or I'll just wait until you're done.
Yeah, no, all done. I'll stop that screen.
Sounds good. So let me share this, because this is another chart that I load up on every time I open Chrome. And let me see if I can grab that. There we go. And this chart, actually, this is one of the charts that I've been watching this chart since probably just after Hex launch, right? This was the one that I was actually using daily to gauge the price. But this is the interesting bit. Boom. Where are you? There. That's the interesting bit right there. So that gives you the metrics against all of the coins. Now, by the way, a week ago, this was all red. All of it. All right. This is Hex USD, Hex BTC, Hex ETH. So we slowly started getting green here, then getting green here on the 7-day, then getting green on the month. I expect that we will see the 3 months over the next 2 weeks become green as well. Right. So
Nice.
that's just how Hex has performed against those assets. Anyway, but I always look at this. Sometimes I post it up on Twitter when it looks good. You know, I don't show the
there's
ugly face.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
don't show the ugly
Richard
face.
posts the floor is lava tweets when
Yeah.
we can be a little bit biased with our dissemination of information.
Oh gosh, yeah. But you know, it's so nice. And the reason why I really started doing these streams is simply to really interact with the community, have opportunities like this to ask people questions that everybody can benefit from the answers, right? I know enough to ask questions that may be relevant to what we're trying to do, you know. But it's so nice to have this time to chit-chat,
Yeah.
and talk about all the technical stuff. And by the way, Tangent, we're in kind of the same time zone. That's why I see your stuff more. But you know, I usually when I get off work, I sometimes HexHarrison and I will say, well, let's stream, and you know, I'll ping you, and I would love to have more
hit me up.
times
Hit
like
me up.
this.
Especially
Yeah.
especially on weekdays, it's much more likely I'll be able to hang about a bit longer. But
Nice.
this
Yeah,
has been
yeah,
a
weekdays
lot
as well.
of fun. This has been really, really fun. Thanks
We
for
hope
having
to
me
please.
Well, we're not going to close out just yet because this is the Random Rockin' Roadshow, and I am Rock Edison, by the way. So I want to before we all bust out, I want to play a tune, Rock Edison tune coming at you. You all right for a 3.5 minute track?
on. Do it.
All right, then I'm going. You can't stop me now. I think I will do. I have to do a different kind of share. Wait, I have to share a tab actually. Let's do. Camera. No, wrong button. I have to share actually a Chrome tab to do this. Chrome tab. Mega. Okay. I'm going to actually, I'm not going to play a music video. I'm going to play an unreleased track. How about that?
Nice.
That's good.
It's finished, but not released yet. So let me go down and find the location.
Is it the 16 cents mix, yeah?
You 60, I know. Yeah, the 16.
It's
Yes,
the 16 cents mix.
Yes, it is. What you said just made sense. Let me just actually.
Thanks very much.
I'm doing the wrong thing here. I'm going to do the next release that's coming that I'm making the video for now, which is Fuel to the Fire. Let me pull this guy out if I can find it. Release. There it is. And Fuel to the Fire, baby. Where are you? I'm not sorting the right way. I can't change the sorting. There it is. Let's play this. There it is. Fuel to the Fire.
Fuel to the fire, spark to the flame. It's rising up higher, it's burning only me. You're adding fuel to the fire, fanning the flames like a witch at the stake. You know you're killing me. Standing away from the heat while you're getting the flames, adding fuel to a fire that's burning only me. You're happy to see the heat you're generating. What you're trying to solve with this incinerating. Lions and tigers stalking the night. I'm caught in the middle of an uncontrollable fight. Due to the fire.
Nice.
Dude, very nice.
Fuel to the fire,
Man.
baby.
That was real, man. I had the volume like maxed out. Like, I was just blasting my ears, dude. That was sick. I love it, and I actually liked it more and more as it went on. Like I actually was like appreciating it even more the more of it I listened to.
Yeah,
Really
the key
sick.
to Rock Edison is so as a video game developer and a designer, I tend to design things that I want to play that don't exist or aren't being made, whatever. And with the music, I make music that I can't hear, but I want to hear. Right? That's kind of the key to it. But yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you listening to that. And look, I'll ping you during the day at some point and say, hey, you want to jump in and join us at 7? I just,
Very cool.
I just love talking to you, and I knew that I would after seeing your streams and seeing you on other streams. We did have a chance to meet up on the Steak and Bake a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah,
It was.
Yes,
It was a
indeed.
pleasure
And
having you on.
Thanks for reaching out. I know there are going to probably be a few Hexicans that will consider that you jumped the queue, like people who had asked me to stream with them from further back, but it is really that time zone difference that makes it difficult sometimes, like when they're in the
Totally
States.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Sure.
this is
And also, we're cooler.
yeah, with rock music like that,
There you go.
Well, what he says is true, but I guess there are a lot of people that I want to talk to, but it's so hard to do, right? There was one
that's it.
Hexican that said, "Yes, I will do a live stream with you next week but here's my times from 7 a.m. from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time." And I'm like, those are exactly the times I go to sleep and wake up. So I don't think I can do it. Right? So it is a little bit more difficult for us on this side of the world, but I feel I just like I said, just after watching you in streams for so long, I feel a bit of a kindredness with you. So it's just awesome. Like I said, I could go fanboy, but I'm gonna restrain myself. Right?
Yeah, it was great to have you on. Anyway, it's been a great stream.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Looking forward to the next one.
I'm
Cheers,
gonna dip
brother.
before
Cheers.
my friends kill me. Awesome.
Yeah, for
Cheers,
sure.
guys.
We'll carry on. We'll let you duck out. Thank you so much. I'll look
See
forward
ya.
to seeing you next time. Adios.
Nice.
There we go. That was as much fun as I expected it to be. Yeah.
With your clothes on. Hey.
Hey, what you said it?
Anyway,
that?
well, that was an interesting insight to some chart analysis there. So I learnt a lot.
Well,
So
watching the playback, I'm guessing you will absorb quite a bit more.
oh yeah,
I know.
Well, I mean, obviously, I was listening a lot through this stream because it was had to get my learning ears tuned up. But yeah, it was good. Enjoyed it.
It was important to you, right?
Yeah, enjoyed
So,
it. Well, it's been a nice 2-hour stream. As you see in the stream, the sun's come out, so I've got to go out and do some work. But yeah,
Cut the
keep
grass.
us posted. Yeah, cut the grass. Yeah, keep us posted for when the next one's going to be.
Thank you so much, and
you, man.
Thank you. From Four Dog Studio, this is Rock Edison signing out, and HexHarrison signing out. Yes.
See you later.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye. Look, Hex has reached 17. That would be a min. Oh no, sorry, 11.7% up. That's very good.
Wait.
On the way to
Hold on,
17. That would be a fantastic.
Let me check it. 16.32. I see.
Not
Bye,
bad,
everybody.
not bad.
Thank
All
you
right,
for
take
joining
care.
us. Bye-bye.
Bye.